look at that crowd, the likes of which has not been seen in a while here at the GSL studio. It is massive, and that's not everybody. There's so much more off camera that you guys can't even see.
They actually set up a couple of chairs outside at one of the screens.
Yeah.
There's one of the screens in the entrance hall where they just set up the screen and everything. They put the game on there. They have a couple of chairs in front of it because there are so many people that they did not fit into the studio. It's actually insane.
It is insane. And the reason why, of course, is because today is not Group B. It's the Group of Death. It probably should be Group D for that reason.
Ridiculous. Today's games are going to be so epic. We have two Protoss players. We have Squirtle and we have MC. And of course, a Terran and a Zerg to round things up.
We've got Marine King and Symbol as well. A sick lineup of players today. Who's going to get out of this group? I don't think anybody knows.
I have no idea. I mean, I have my two favorite. I think Symbol is going to be able to make it out of the group.
I think so too.
And I'm still struggling between Marine King and Squirtle for second place, but it's such a hard choice to make.
Well, there's always MC too, because he's a scary player who can play macro, but his all-ins are really, really strong. And in this type of group where it's a tough group, I wouldn't put it past him to do some 6 gates, 7 gates, maybe even an 8 gate. Who knows?
If I look at the group, at the players today, and at their current shape they're in, I would actually say that MC might even be the worst player of the group, which is such a ridiculous thing to say that I have problems actually like pronouncing the words. It's like, what? So this group today is just, it's epic. How did that happen? I mean, this is crazy. What did they do wrong to make this group happen in the drawings? I have no clue, but for us, it's a great treat.
It's a great treat, man. We get to cast these games, and I didn't actually get to catch the part of the nomination that this happened, so I don't even know how this group was formed. I have no idea how the disaster occurred, but
in the end, I don't care. We can cast these games, and I have to say, we definitely have the best job in the entire world.
Absolutely, man. Nobody else has a better job.
Today's matches are going to be like, what? One game after another, pure epicness, and we are going to start it off with a Squirtle game.
Yep, Squirtle versus Symbol is going to be our first match. It's going to be a Protoss versus Zerg. Squirtle has actually shown a lot of PvP and PvT last season. That was kind of those are his most commonly played matches by far.
But before we jump into the games, we have a quick look at yesterday's results. Group A, popping up on screen right now to give you a little bit of an idea what happened. Well, apparently we are having the group a little bit later, so yeah, let's talk about the game at hand.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Watch this. All right, here was yesterday's result. Seed advancing to the round of 8, taken first. Tasia getting second, knocking Violet, and I Am MVP taking 4th place in the group.
Really disappointing performance by MVP. Well, maybe not disappointing. He fought great battles, but it was surprising. This was not really disappointing. It was just that his opponents yesterday were just simply playing better and surprised him a couple of times. Violet and Tasia with a really, really hard-fought battle in game number 3, the deciding game, which resulted in Tasia advancing over Violet. It was a great game, and Violet actually, he looked
good.
He had it. He had a really, really nice advantage in the early mid game, but then Tasia turned on the Hulk mode and took him down. Well, today's players.
Yeah, here they are. Starting out with Squirtle here, our Protoss runner-up last season. Very strong Protoss. And of course, next up is Symbol. He may arguably be the best Zerg player in the world. He and Dongre are definitely up there, and a lot of people are saying he's better than him.
At MLG, his performance was a little bit disappointing. Not so Marine King, though. Well, Marine King, he lost against Alicia at MLG, something that a lot of people would not have expected, but he's an amazing player. And of course, we always have MC.
The only Protoss ever to be a GSL champion.
Yeah. I felt sorry for Squirtle last season. MVP, he's an amazing guy, and it was hard for me to actually pick my favorite player in this final because I like MVP, I like Squirtle, but I just thought it was so sad. MVP, he already has 3 titles. Give the kid a break, let Squirtle win one too.
No, see, I wanted MVP to win so badly, man. I wanted him to win so much. I love MVP. I feel like in StarCraft, to me, there needs to be an undisputed king. That's to me a really cool and exciting thing. When there is someone who's on top who has more wins than anyone else, I really like that.
Well, but I think we can definitely agree that Squirtle at least deserved to be in the finals.
Yeah.
Gave him a really good show, run for his money. And now we have him again up against a Zerg now. He's up against TSL Symbol, and this is going to be great.
This will be great indeed. The first map is Whirlwind. It's loading right right now, we're going to jump into Game 1 between Squirtle and Symbol here at the GSL Codes, cast by Caldor and Wolf.
Oh yeah, and we are live with game number 1 in today's Codes group. And to the bottom right of Whirlwind in the red, we have the StarTale player. This is
StarTale Squirtle.
Naniwa actually said about Squirtle before the last finals, before the last season, we were still in the group stage. He told me that he thinks he's the best Protoss out there right now. That he is so good that he plays such an insane Protoss style, and now he ended up being the runner-up of the last season. Here he is again.
7-3 in his last 10 games, as you guys can see. Really good stats there.
Just look at this record. This is like really impressive.
A Zerg opponent from the team TSL down here at the bottom left in the blue. His ID is
GSL Symbol.
Symbol is a genius. When he plays Zerg, it's like a poem. It's like a well-written poem. At MLG, he did not do all that well. It was actually... Look at that curve.
Look at that, man. 10-0 in his last 10 games.
The sky is the limit, my friend. Where is that GSL championship for this guy?
I'm wondering, man. He's got to get out of this group first, but I think he's probably got the best chance out of anyone here.
As I was about to say, at MLG he was a little bit, I don't want to say unlucky, but he underperformed. A lot of people expected a lot more, of course, with those open brackets that you have at MLG. It's always really hard to succeed. He lost against a Protoss player, by the way. He lost against Inori. Inori was the one player who eliminated Symbol.
It's his teammate also, you know, so that's something to consider. We just see a Nexus first versus Hatch first as the builds here. This is a huge map, completely expected.
One of the things that we should also mention is that at MLG, Symbol had a really tight schedule. He played GSL just before he went to Anaheim, so that might have influenced it as well. We talked to the TSL coach a little bit earlier about it, and this is definitely a contributor to his performance. But just the games that we saw before, this reverse all-kill in the GSTL, one of the most epic moments that I've ever experienced in StarCraft 2, and Symbol, he made it happen.
Yeah, Symbol has just been impressing everybody recently. I think there's no limit to what this guy can do right now. In this group, if he doesn't get out, I think I'll be even more surprised than when MVP didn't get out yesterday, to be perfectly honest. I think this guy definitely is going places. He is improving so quickly.
And on the other hand, we have Squirtle, who is currently just walling off. We have a really big map, and the way the map works is actually not that bad for Zerg, because you can always expand away from your opponent. You can make sure that there's a huge distance between your opponent's forces and your own expansions. So I would say this map definitely works a little bit in favor of Zerg, and Squirtle has to bring his A game today. This is such an intense group, and Squirtle is capable of getting out of this group, reaching the next round of Codes, but it's not going to be easy against players like Marine King, MC, and of course Symbol here.
Yeah, Symbol taking a fast third base around 4:30. Not as fast as it could have been, but the third base location a little bit far away. Probe is going in the correct direction to scout this if he turns around and goes up that ramp, but he hasn't actually seen his opponent's base yet, so he's going to have to check the natural first. And if he's not careful, he's going to get caught by these Lings. So we'll see the Lings now. Needs to turn that probe around carefully.
He knows about the expansion, he just spots the creep and then he heads back. So right now we have Symbol with a Stargate transition. Sometimes that we don't see that often anymore, occasionally it pops up. And for different reasons. We have the typical style where you start with a Void Ray and follow up with Phoenixes, try to pressure your opponent's economy, maybe lift off a Queen and kill it if you happen to find one not protected. But on the other hand, there have also been a couple of plays where it's specifically designed to force the Overlords back and enable War Prism play in the second stage. With the JYP game, we've seen these War Prism and Choke Force Field Clocks a lot lately against Zerg. So let's see what exactly Squirtle has in mind here.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good choice for these positions because he may be expecting the Zerg to take a third base on that high ground that's really close to him, and these positions that would be great for that. Unfortunately for him, the Zerg player has taken the third a little bit further away. He's waiting for 150 gas before he can start this. There it is. But even so, he is going to be able to clean up Overlords, these spots. There's 2 of them, in fact, on his path to the main base. He can scout with this. Roach Warren going up at a very normal timing now for Symbol as well. His third base is up.
He's actually a little bit early here. We have him already completing it at like 7 minutes. But he's droning up quite a bit, so he wants to be prepared for any kind of incoming gateway push. But there's none coming, so the only thing that he has to defend against right now is air. And his evolution chamber is a bit more at the standard timing, roughly at the 7-minute mark. But we still don't have more than 3 queens, so 1 queen per base. And if there is a Phoenix follow-up, he has to be a little bit careful. But so far it looks like, yeah, there it is, Phoenix number 1. While Squirtle showed his hands, showed the air units, killed the Overlords, and wants to provoke a reaction of Symbol.
And he will. Right now, no extra queens being added as he has supply block, but as soon as those 2 Overlords pop out, he will likely start them. 1 Spore Crawler going down in the main base. The second Overlord may be spotted. Looks like he's going to get a little bit lucky today. Nice pullback there by Symbol. And the Void Ray actually is going to go and scout for that third base now, whereas the Phoenix is likely going to scout the main to see if he can find any tech, see the lair timing. And I like how he split these units up right now. Normally you keep them together, try to kill queens, but in this case he knows, okay, I've already showed my hand. He's going to likely be prepared. This time I'm going to send my Void Ray to scout the third base, and I'm going to scout the main at the same time, splitting things up. I really like that.
Yeah, Symbol just scouting the perimeter of his opponent's base as he didn't find too many Overlords here that he could take down. Only 1 of them died, and now we have the macro hatch already for Symbol. So at this point, a lot more commitment by Squirtle to his air army. He is not only going for 2 additional Phoenixes, but he's actually building 3 and a 4th now as we speak, following it up with the transition into a robotics bay. And this is really common that we see Colossi as a follow-up to the Stargate opening, because what you want to provoke is the Hydra, then you want to provoke a lot of Hydras, and then you move in with the Colossi.
Yep, and here we go. He's actually going to engage the Queen. He wants to, but the Spore Crawlers are too well positioned. He will pick off some Overlords here, and a 4th Phoenix now joins the fight. Symbol has to be careful. He's made a lot of extra Overlords, but look, here he's forced the Hydralisk in, just like you were talking about. But before the Hydralisk in finishes, the Robotic Support Bay will finish, and talk about exactly how the plan comes together. He's actually going to get this Queen.
Hannibal Smith would be proud of him now. And the Queen, it dies. While we currently have the Spire also as another tech structure for Symbol. I like this a lot more. This will help him a lot, not only against the air units, but also against the, the Colossi. I love how he actually uses only 1 Spore Crawler to defend his base. Like, he's always uprooting it and walking it towards the place where the Void Ray is currently attacking his base.
This Overseer not going to last much longer. But yeah, you're right. He was pretty minimalist with his defense. He's making 2 additional queens now, which will put him up to 4. But he was stuck on 2 queens for a really long time. Notice his creep isn't even extended from his main to his natural just yet. And his third base and his natural aren't even quite connected yet. They will be very soon. He's got +1. He hasn't made any Hydras, and in fact, has not even gotten Hydralisk range yet. So he made the Den just as a safety net. This is actually something I wish more players would do. When they make the Hydralisk Den, they find out, okay, are you committing to this or not? Are you going to do a gateway follow-up? Do I want those Hydras? And it turns out in this case, no. So he hasn't made any. It's perfectly smart by him to do.
He already spotted the Colossi attack, so he knows exactly what he has to do, and we will see a lot of Corruptors being built by Symbol. He needs them right now. His economy is fine. He's at 73 drones against 51 probes. He does not have a 4th base, but with Squirtle being on only 2, he does not really need it just yet. He needs to be safe against what happens right now. If he tries to take a 4th at this point, he would overextend himself to his economy build and would completely be overrun by Squirtle. But now the Protoss player with an extended thermal range about to finish is moving out.
This is a really scary timing, man.
Yeah.
This is the timing that you see in every matchup, whether it's PvP, PvT, or PvZ. 2 Colossi with range. He's got 4 Phoenixes, 7 Corruptors, 8 Corruptors on the way. Now it's going to be very hard to engage against this, though, and they are not out yet. The Colossi is starting to do their damage. He's picking off these tumors. He needs to get his Roaches in position. The Void Ray taking some hits on this Spore, but it will fall.
He has to wait a little bit longer. Now the first few Corruptors are out, but he has to kill those Phoenixes as well, and they will bait a lot of shots here. And now is he moving in? The force fields are set. Well placed by Squirtle.
Oh no, the drone's going the wrong direction. He's losing so many, and this hatchery will fall. The Corruptors are out, but he's going to micro well against him. If the Corruptors have no support, the Stalkers can just fight them alone.
Symbol knows exactly that he is not allowed to fight just yet. He tries to kill at least 1 or 2 Phoenixes before the big battle starts, but right now, Squirtle is backing off. didn't even kill the macro hatch. He needs to be very careful here, but I love how patient Symbol is. He knows that he can't win like this. He needs more units, he needs a good position, and he's trying to get it. The force fields are a real problem for him though.
Yeah, here we go. He's trying to damage these roaches. The Corruptors still remain all alive, and he's mining from his natural and to third base while the fourth hatchery has finished. Squirtle is running out of time with this push.
Beautiful how they are currently struggling to get into a good position. Really well played by both of these players. Very, very patient. And Squirtle is just reinforcing his army over and over again with new warp-ins, trying to move onto the high ground, takes down the macro hatch. As Symbol claims a fourth though and is getting all his drones back to safety. The fourth not scouted by Squirtle yet.
Yeah, he does not know about it. Now he's going to come up here, he's going to see the drones are gone, but that's not necessarily going to mean there's a fourth base. Nice control by both players here. Nice picks off that Corruptor, or rather that Phoenix with the Corruptors, and that means his Corruptors will have a little bit more free reign. His Corruptor count now up to 10, and there's only +1 for Squirtle.
And now we have him moving in. Symbol is going in, trying to defend. He's sniping one of the Colossi, the other one falls as well, and the third one dies too. But these roaches are hard pressed by all of them Stalkers. A really Stalker-heavy army, and now the pickoffs with all of the remaining Phoenixes. Well done by Squirtle. Symbol is dropping in supply.
He's falling
Squirtle
quick.
might have done it.
He may have done it, man. The last Corruptor's starting to fall here. 13 more roaches on the way. Of Manor Nexus!
Not only one, he throws down two of them. And Symbol. GG's as Squirtle takes game number 1.
Very nicely timed, forcing the Hydralisk then, but Symbol reacting to what he saw. He didn't make any Hydralisk. Even so, he had a lot of bases, not enough units to hold the push. Well timed, a very patient push. The execution as well as the planning for Squirtle were just too much for him.
That was really well done. I loved how they struggled in order to get into a good position, how Symbol and Squirtle were so patient, trying to wait for the best moment to actually attack. And then Squirtle felt comfortable. He went up the choke point once again. His force fields were well placed. Took not only down the macro hatch, but was able to get just everything. Those roaches, they suffered too much damage before the Colossi were finally killed, and then the Stalkers finished what the Colossi started.
I mean, that's exactly right. And once the Colossi were dead, they had already done their damage, and the Corruptors were just dead weight at that point, not able to accomplish anything. Game 2, as you guys just saw on screen briefly, is going to be on Daybreak. This is the map choice of Symbol. A lot of Zergs picking this map these days. It's a map they feel comfortable, I feel, against gateway pushes in the off of 2 base especially. We've seen a lot of Zergs easily hold third bases with a very normally timed Roach Warren. Sometimes even like you've been talking about a lot recently is the Roach Warren coming after 7 minutes, still having enough roaches out to hold.
Yeah. The timings for Zerg are these days a little bit earlier because Protoss tries to be more aggressive and to be at the scene of the crime, namely the third base, a little bit faster to take down a drone or two, maybe kill a queen. So, well done in the last game, and this is already getting exciting. This is so important to both of them. Symbol against Squirtle, game number 2 coming up here at the GSL Code S. Haldon Wolf.